You know, sometimes the scariest things happen when you're just doing something super normal, not in a spooky old house on a hill or in the middle of nowhere, just at your regular job. That's what happened to me a few years ago. I used to work at our town's little library. It wasn't a big city library, you know, just a cozy old brick building with creaky floors and that nice old book smell. I loved that job. It was so quiet and peaceful, especially when I worked the closing shift. Just me, the books, and the quiet. Most nights, closing was pretty boring. I'd tidy up, put away stray books, check the computers, and then lock up. It was usually about 11 p.m. when I'd head out, and the town would be totally asleep. It felt really safe, like nothing bad could ever happen there. The kind of place where you could leave your bike unlocked and nobody would touch it. It was my calm place, my little island of quiet. I never thought twice about being alone there late at night, never. Then, one Tuesday night, things started to get weird. It was pretty late, maybe 10:30 p.m. I was putting away some history books on the top floor, near the big windows that looked out over the town square. Everything was super quiet, just the way I liked it. And then I heard it. It was this really soft, low hum, like someone was humming a tune. It was far away and sort of wiggly, almost like a strange, thin wind. I stopped what I was doing and just listened. Did I leave a radio on? Did one of the old air conditioners finally decide to sing? I thought maybe it was just the building settling or pipes making noise. This library was really old, after all. Everything creaked and groaned a bit. I even wondered if I was just tired and imagining things. Your mind can play tricks on you when it's late and you're alone, right? I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was nothing, just old building noises. I went back to tidying. The hum didn't go away. In fact, it started to get a little bit clearer. Not louder, just clearer. It sounded like it was coming from the basement. Our basement wasn't like the nice, bright kids section downstairs. The library basement had these dusty, old archives. Boxes and boxes of really old books, town records, things nobody ever looked at. It was cold down there, and kind of damp, and a little bit spooky if you thought about it too much. I had to go down there sometimes to turn off the main lights. Thought, okay, maybe it's just the old boiler making a funny noise tonight. So, I grabbed my keys and went down the narrow, creaky stairs. The air got colder with each step. The humming, this weird, low, almost musical sound, seemed to stop. As I got closer to the bottom, it just vanished. I stood there for a minute, in the dark, just listening. Nothing, only my own breathing. See, I told myself. Just your imagination, Alex. You're tired. I quickly flipped off the lights and headed back upstairs, feeling a bit silly for even thinking about it. As soon as I got back to the main floor, the humming started again. This time, it wasn't from the basement. It was from the reading room, the one with the tall, dark wooden bookshelves that went all the way up to the ceiling. And it wasn't just a hum anymore. It was more like a whisper, a low, drawn-out sound, like someone was singing a very sad, very old song. The words weren't quite right. It was a tune I'd never heard before. My heart started to beat a little faster. This wasn't pipes. This wasn't a boiler. This felt different, and it felt like it was moving. I started to get a bad feeling. A really bad feeling. I pulled out my phone to call my friend, Maya, who usually picked me up after my shift sometimes. I just needed to hear another person's voice to laugh it off. My phone screen stayed black. It was fully charged when I started my shift. I tried to press the power button a few times. Nothing. Just a dead black screen. My hands started to feel cold and clammy. Okay, no problem, I thought. I'll just go out the front door, use the payphone across the street. We still had one of those old ones. I walked quickly to the big oak front doors, the ones we used every day. I reached for the handle, pushed it down, and it wouldn't budge. I tried again, pushing harder. Nothing. It was locked. I knew for a fact I hadn't locked it yet. I always left it unlocked until I was completely done with everything, just in case I forgot something in my car. I even leaned into the door, pushing my shoulder against it. It was sealed tight, and that's when I heard a soft, scraping sound from the other side, like something dragging lightly across the stone just outside the door. My stomach dropped. I tried to look through the little window in the door. It was just dark outside. I felt this awful, chilling thought. What if someone locked me in from the outside? Panic really started to set in then. This wasn't normal. The phone was dead, the main doors were locked, and there was this strange, creeping sound. My mind raced. Was it a prank? Maybe some teenagers messing around. It didn't feel like a prank. It felt heavier, colder. The whispering sound in the reading room grew a little louder, a little closer. It wasn't just humming now. It was more like a whisper, a low, drawn-out sound, like someone was singing a very sad, very old song. The words weren't quite right. And then a book tumbled from a shelf in the main reading room. Not a gentle fall. It was like it was pushed. Thump. It hit the old wooden floorboards with a loud crack that echoed through the quiet library. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it would burst out of my chest. I backed away from the front doors slowly, my eyes glued to the dark archway leading to the reading room. I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the outside weather. It was the kind of cold that sinks deep into your bones, like the air itself was suddenly made of ice. My breath hitched. I just stood there, frozen, listening. Thump. Thump. More books fell, one right after another, from different shelves, always from the top rows, making a terrible, random rhythm. It sounded like something was moving through the shelves, knocking things down as it went. I dove behind the circulation desk, trying to make myself as small as possible. My legs were shaking so much I could barely stand. I could still hear the soft, unsettling whispering, and now it was definitely closer. It sounded like it was right there, just behind the counter, almost singing to me. My eyes darted around, trying to see anything in the dim light from the street lights filtering through the high windows. Then, from between two tall rows of shelves, I saw it. Or, I think I saw it. It wasn't a person. It was too tall, too thin. A long, dark shadow that moved too fast, sliding almost, not walking. It moved like water or smoke, just flowing between the books. And then, for just a second, it stopped, and I saw something. Two pinpricks of light glowing a faint cold blue in the middle of that shadow. Like eyes, not human eyes. They weren't round, they were long and thin, like slivers. And they seemed to be looking right at me, right through the counter. I was hidden. The whispering sound grew louder, a buzzing that filled my head, a language I didn't know. It felt like pure, cold dread. My whole body screamed. It was in here, with me, and it wasn't friendly. It felt like a hungry kind of cold. I knew I had to get out. Right then, This wasn't some funny prank. This was real, and it wanted me. I quickly remembered an old emergency exit door in the back, usually locked, that led to a small alleyway. It was for fire emergencies only. I crawled out from behind the desk, staying low, trying to be super quiet, my heart hammering like a drum. The cold, wispy whispering followed me, always just a little bit behind me, a little bit to my side. I could feel its breath, icy cold. I saw nothing. I fumbled with the emergency bar on the door, my fingers clumsy with fear. It was rusty, and it squeaked loudly. The whispering stopped. The entire library went silent, a sudden, terrifying silence that was worse than the noise. I yanked the bar down, and with a loud thud, the door burst open. I didn't even look back. I just ran. I ran faster than I ever have in my life, out into the dark alley, not caring where I was going, just running as fast as my legs could carry. Me, away from that place, away from that cold, unseen thing. I didn't stop until I reached the bright lights of the gas station on the edge of town. I burst in, breathless and shaking, and probably looking like a crazy person. The poor night attendant looked at me like I had 3 heads. I managed to stammer out something about being locked in and something in the library. He helped me call. The police. 2 police cars showed up pretty fast. I told them what happened, trying to explain the humming, the locked doors, the dead phone, the falling books, and that thing I saw. They listened kindly. I could tell they thought I was just super tired or maybe a little bit crazy. They went to check the library. They came back a few minutes later, saying the front doors were unlocked, the emergency exit was shut, and there was no sign of forced entry. My phone was even back on and fully charged in my purse, sitting on the circulation desk where I'd left it. They said there was no sign of anyone else, no footprints in the dust, nothing out of place except for a few books that had fallen on the floor. I never went back to work at that library. I couldn't. Every time I thought about it, I could feel that cold, whispering breath on my neck. The police said it was probably just my imagination, or maybe a draft, or maybe someone playing a prank and getting away before I could see them. I know what I saw, I know what I felt, and I know for a fact that my phone was dead, and those doors were locked, and whatever was in there with me, it wasn't human. I still drive past that old library sometimes, and I always feel a shiver. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it wanted. Was it always there, just waiting for the right moment? Or did I, somehow, unknowingly, wake it up? The why is what really gets me, you know? The mystery of it is so much scarier than just knowing it was some bad person. If it wasn't a person, then what was it? And is it still there, just waiting for the next late night shift? I guess I'll never really. No, and that's the part that still keeps me up at night.